This conference will now be recorded.
We'll start the meeting at 7:01 with the quorum. We have Cindy, Matt, Barbara, and Sarah in attendance, with David and Katrina and Jane. Okay. All right. Let's remember our virtual meeting best practices here. We won't go over those. The first day to file an application for a place on the May 7th general election was Wednesday the 19th. Council member 1 and 3 and 5, 1, 3, and 5 are on the ballot. Deadline will be February the 18th. Anyone interested in submitting an application? All city offices and library will be closed Monday, February 21st in observance of the President's Day holiday. Discuss, consider, and act to approve the meeting minutes from January 12th.
This is Cindy. I move that we approve the minutes from December the 8th, 2021. No, is that right?
In January, from January.
I have that. On January 12th, 2022. Thank you. This is Barbara. I second it.
All in favor? No one opposed? Consider act and discussion regarding the financial statement from January. Anything change?
And I'm assuming that all the things we did at the last meeting are not on here yet, correct? Okay. This is Cindy. Sorry. David, we're getting a tidy sum from the Park Fund development fee. Is that expected to continue with what we've got on the book that they're still building out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With all that going and all the houses that are still to come, we still got a good run left before that'll start tapering off. Still going to keep growing for at least, oh gosh, we've got another probably 4 to 5 years of just constant, just tons of money coming in. Like,
so the houses, I ask this question every other month, 500 or 1,000? What was it? Okay. Sorry, I'm going to ask. are the newer ones a higher level, or is it just based on like, they're a little more I'm just trying to,
Depends on their PID development agreement. Some developments didn't have anything for parks in theirs, others did, depending on which way they went. Some did, negotiated their fees down, others didn't have anything, and their fees are the normal standard $500 a house. So we have some that negotiated theirs lower. I don't know what they all are anymore. It's been so long since I messed with them. I think they're all $1,000 each per lot.
so,
What it is some of the developers paid or donated more land or are building trails
Okay.
in their
That's-
neighborhood.
that's what I was trying to.
Yeah, if they're
understand.
building
Okay,
trails
all right.
within their neighborhood, then they got a break. If they're, like Latera over here, they're building a whole trail
The trail.
system, and they put in escrow money to eventually connect to this park here. They went ahead and paid a fee to do that, rather than waiting for the houses to all get built there in hope that other properties might decide to do it with them and they'll get it soon. Yeah.
All right, this is Barbara. I move that we accept the January 2022 financial statement as presented.
This is Cindy, I second.
I'll end up having to do it.
Sorry, David.
So yeah, go ahead and. Yeah, this is the first. Yeah. This is just showing you, breaking down the list for all the different projects and cost for each piece going across, with tennis court, all the bids, every single thing that we've talked about, got the approval on, and how much all that put together is going to end up costing.
So I've got a terrible memory at times. For some reason in my head, I'm thinking the initial estimates when the tennis courts and all that first started talking about was way lower than 620. So is right. Yeah. So I get that. I'm just.
Yeah. Now the other one's the breakout one, right?
I think the question is 620, is that are we in is this a problem? Is it kind of sort of what we were budgeting?
No, because a lot of these are EDC, like the upper trail portion. A lot of that, the EDC is looked at, the lighting, the extra electrical over in the park, the EDC is going to fund. So that's what we're having to do, is get all these numbers together and how much money y'all got in the pot, how much city's got in the pot. And now we're fixing to make a presentation to EDC to try to milk them for as much money as we can get out of them and fund everything, hopefully all at one time. That's the goal.
It's all one project. Right. I think that was my concern. As I see 600, I'm thinking maybe 200.
Yeah, no. Yeah, because this is even going, probably when we do go to bids, since all this is down here, except for the trail lighting, is we're probably going to put all this together out there on the street with addendums and add alternates so that we can try to get one big package see what kind of bids we get, we can always cut anything out that,
Well, for the actual tennis,
Well, the thing is, most of these people that do this, these park guys, that's what they do everything. They do playgrounds, their companies have people that do all these different pieces.
It's subcontract.
Yeah, and then they have the bigger ones that don't have their own crews, have subs that they use currently, especially for, like flat work, concrete stuff. They'll have a separate crew that they normally use, that the subcontractor they use on a regular basis, gives them a good price. So a lot of those things are like that.
But I've got a few more questions. I don't know if you want to
Sure.
go through it first and then maybe ask questions at the end.
No,
or I
you
don't know
can,
what's
anytime you got something, we're fine.
I'm just looking at some of the tennis court line items. I think there's little things like benches, trash cans, maybe a practice backing. Are these things, 30% or whatever, and still a lot more details to be developed out, or?
These would probably be closer to about 40% done. There's still some minor things that we keep, going through. What we're doing now is getting them out to people who do this sort of work and then getting back. But we had to come up with some preliminary numbers to get started with EDC. But we got a company that specifically designs tennis courts and that sort of thing that's looking at those that they'll give us back. But they gave us some decent numbers and then said, add this much to it because there's going to be contingencies and stuff. And then, of course, we add some more to anything that these guys tell us because we know something else is going to be there. So that's why we're just putting together big numbers, knowing that pretty much everything probably will come in well under this. But if we don't put in that 20% contingency kind of money, sure as the devil, something else will happen.
So another question then, on some of these big contracts, I think, if I remember correctly, cities will pay to have the big ticket items done. So big contract will come in, maybe, build the tennis courts, the fences or whatever the project may be. Is there a separate maybe purchase that the city might do after that to kind of fill in the small accessories? Is that
Oh yeah.
how? Okay.
Oh yeah.
I just,
happens.
So
very common to be done that way.
So I'm just kind of thinking about that for the tennis courts. Like, don't put in every little thing we want, because the plan would be we can maybe just purchase it right after the project for a little bit cheaper. Okay.
I'll just give an example. Every tennis court I have played in this area, going not here, but Keller and Fort Worth ISD. Often the tennis courts are built and benches are off for like, yeah. I mean, that's just an example. And it would be good because of the amount of wind we have. If that's included, that's the windbreaker. That would be a great thing to have. But net replacement and that kind of, that's not an overly expensive. And there's other groups that might be able to help us with that. There's a group called TAC that's active in our area, and they might provide support for us in some small way.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'd like to point out that the tennis court quote, $273,365, and that does not include any benefits.
It's got the reinforced concrete.
Oh, with the nets, it lumps the
nets.
benches in on the
Yeah,
net.
dropping nets,
okay.
benches.
Okay.
Even has lighting, even though we don't have electricity there. But that was one of the first things. The first time we talked to EDC was like, well, if you're going to do it, why don't you put lights over there, or at least put it in the budget. You may not be able to afford to do it, but put it there, and they might pick it up with their electric project that they want to do around the park. So,
Well, or at least have whatever the wiring is. I don't understand, so I write language, but at least put what's necessary to have there underneath the concrete before they pour the concrete,
Con,
even if
Yep.
you don't have the electricity hooked up,
Yes.
at least have it ready.
Mhm.
Be my way to describe it.
I have another question, David. Is
Sure.
part of this because, I mean, we had a really hard time even getting anybody to look at just pouring concrete when it was such a small amount. When we're
Mhm.
looking at a project like this, we'll get better bids from better companies.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, usually that's one of the problems we run into. The same thing with asphalt, same thing with concrete, lots of stuff. Because of our size, we don't buy a big enough quantity sometimes to hit some really good price breaks. But concrete work, yeah, hard to find somebody that wants to do a little small patch of a sidewalk. But you want a guy to build you, 500-foot long sidewalk, yeah, that's a lot easier to find. That guy's out there.
Could you kind of explain this map, what the red dotted lines?
Those are just the call outers. The red is kind of calling out what's on the sheet. There should be sheet behind this, sheet 2. There you go. They have some blow ups of the different areas. So the different pieces have blow ups of what they are. So if you go back to the first one, let's see, sheet 2 right there. That's the little park with the benches over here in
Okay.
Gamble Park. And sheet 3 should be the electric around the basketball court. Sheet 4, and so on. That's what it's all. Each one of them's got their own little page to kind of get you down a little bit closer in the weeds to the actual where it's at, that you can kind of get a better feel for where you're at.
So what is it that they're doing there at bridge, the drainage bridge?
Basically building the same thing we have. If you look at the lower trail one, the upper trail washes out just like the old trail low water crossing did. This is to build that up and put a bridge just like we have at the lower trail crossing, so it doesn't flood and wash out every time it rains.
that details that detail's not on
Yeah,
here.
it's like a choice.
No, the assume there's gonna be a little more detail to it.
Oh, yeah. When final plans, I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to be the same exact plan that we put together for the other one. It will be the exact same, just in that upper
So-
location.
So this is not the one that when I walk the loop that I cross, that's there now.
Mm-hmm.
It has the big drain.
Yep, this is the one at the very back by the railroad track. Mm-hmm. Yep, floods over and washes out all the time, and
I mean, so this is the one that they just redid again.
no,
Just redid it.
to the railroad track.
Yeah.
That little walkway is where that water flows.
Okay, so this is not the one where the
Where the
people
big
would walk
bridge is?
across,
No,
where they would walk across when we park over it.
Correct.
No.
Okay.
this one will look just like that one does.
Okay. Okay, now I understand. Thank you. Sorry, I was slow there.
They actually looked at doing a pond years ago. The problem was cost. Over there, oh yeah, it actually ran from this location where the creek bed is. It ran from there. It was, if you look at this picture here, that entire shaded area, plus all of 2 of the holes over here on the south side of the creek, that was all a big pond, huge pond. It was almost 9 acres all told. Oh yeah.
You have 0 parking for events.
Oh yeah. But that was back when they weren't thinking about events. They were, we'd have a fishing pond, maybe kayaks, all kinds of things.
So they've always walked that.
Oh yeah, they come out of the place upstream, but They, Mhm. Oh yeah, they dug some test holes, and the problem was at 6 feet you hit a 2 foot thick layer of rock that would have to all be busted through. Then you get to go down. The next layer is about 5.5, almost 7 feet in some places below that one. That layer of rock is totally different. It's over 10,000 PSI. So busting through it would be quite expensive. We were talking dynamite and all, and then you still would have to line it. With all that much rock, you'd have to line the whole thing. It started getting more expensive than the entire park did. So they decided, you know what, maybe we don't need a pond there. Oh yeah, the sewer line, when we were putting the sewer line through there and going underneath the railroad tracks there, that was a nightmare. They kept hitting rock, dodging off. They ended up having to do it by hand. They actually had to send a guy up inside the casing and do it about 3 feet per day. You know, it was very difficult to do.
Well, I'm excited to see a bridge on the back, like the front. Because sometimes I'm nervous to walk on that little smaller one.
It is. You know, and
It
every
makes me
time it
nervous.
rains, it's over, water overtops it, so you
Yes.
can't go back there and cross through there anyway. So you're having to walk back and back around,
Mhm.
and it's a maintenance nightmare for us. It's always washing out. There's been rock added and added and added, and it still doesn't do any good. Still washes out.
I'm gonna keep peppering you with questions. All right.
No,
Back-
that's perfectly fine.
Back to the tennis courts.
Sorry.
One of the, so it's got the wind net or whatever that's called. Is there a way, I don't know if it's upfront or a purchase after the fact, but those, I think it's wood or something, the practice thing that just smack
Oh,
balls
yeah,
against?
the practice wall.
Mhm.
I think that's
After the, okay. All right. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
it's the back. All.
As long as
Doesn't go
you
over,
use your
yeah.
job.
So, on the Gamble Park improvements, I've got the 156 right of way. Is there any chance they expand that right of way, or they try to buy more into the park?
No, what we have been told, the way they've got it laid out, that side, the basically west side of 156, that's the line. What they will do will go towards the old rail line since it's been abandoned.
So they would take right away on the other side, the
they'll
east
take
side.
it to the
Okay.
east side, where they don't have to. One, it's a long right of way that's easy to. You only got one person to deal with, not a bunch of people, and because of City Hall and the old bank building age, its historical significance, they can't approach anymore that way. So rather than have it snake around, they're trying to hold everything. This right away the same, everything's going the other way.
Okay. So second question on that, the Gamble Park improvements. And I'm trying to think about, I think the morning is probably the busy time over there. I don't know. But based on that, I think the sun is worst on where you all have the shade structures planned out. So if you're sitting there, the sun's in your face. So I'm wondering if, and I don't know, I think some things might have to get moved. Positioning it where your back is the 156. I think you'll have shade and the sun won't be right there.
Yes, it's that like this afternoon. The Gamble Park there, that area was packed with
Which-
people getting out of school. They come over there with their kids. Some of the older kids go over to the library by themselves. The little ones and mom head over into the park and they're over there. And then in the summertime, that one gets real busy in the afternoon.
Late afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the best location for shade late afternoon?
Well, I think the way, I, this cut, this cut, well, other than morning, this cut, okay.
So it's right, it'd be
I think
in the
that-
east and then swinging around to the west. Right.
You know, but
All right. Well,
I'm trying to just,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's correct.
so that. So this. One of,
Yeah, if you tried to figure it out, north on, again, when you're sitting in Gamble Park,
there's a
Yes.
north arrow.
you know, it does, runs at a diagonal through everything.
It may be the only reasonable spot you can do it anyway, but these little details here, is there shade or a wall or something side, or is it only over the top?
Only over the top on those. I mean, that's,
but what you can do to help that, outside.
Mhm.
I mean, you can do that more healthy.
yeah, well, you know, the big thing is we won't know. It's kind of like with the other park until somebody comes up and starts bidding on these things and they come in with their playground plan of this is the brand and things we like. There are like, I don't know, probably 2,000 or 3,000 different kinds of shade structures.
Okay.
Every kind of some, we don't know. You're probably going to have a handful of them to have to pick. This is the one we like.
But Ed,
That makes sense. I think the other question would be, in my head, I'm somehow thinking the fence is going to get slightly moved, so the shade, I guess so if you're sitting at the shade structure and your kids do something dumb and you don't walk all the way around, you just, like you're,
That's one of the
Sort of
reasons
inside or
too,
outside,
is
I
because
guess.
there is a gate on that northern portion and then there's a gate right there in the middle. There's two gates that way and then there's one gate out the actual east side towards 156, but we didn't figure that would be a place people would really want to stick because you're getting really close to the fence line in the road.
is there one right there on the shade side?
where the,
Okay, I was
Mhm.
used, okay,
yeah, I mean, I think
okay, all right. I guess it never
he
dawned
just
on me.
didn't want to take.
Yeah. All right, that's all I had.
All right. That's just some sample ones to show you the different kinds and to kind of get a feel. Do you have a certain design that you kind of like better? Because that's what we'll concentrate talking to, because we're talking with actually right now, Tri-County is very interested in possibly doing the lighting project along Schoolhouse Road, which kind of surprised us, but we wanted you to have a, you know, if you look at the upper box, that's what we have currently here in Old Town. That's the exact same lights, same pole. No, up here in the upper right-hand corner, the black ones there, those right there, that's the exact light we have down here right now. So those are really neat. If you go right here, right outside the door, they're all over down, all over Old Town. If you look at the one straight down below that, that head right there, those are the ones you'll see in some of the new neighborhoods that Tri-County has. That's a very common one that they have in those neighborhoods. Yeah, Caraway has these. Well, so does Watercrest will, and so does Laterra. That one right there.
Can you explain that photometric picture down there? Is that I guess I'm just trying to figure out what those three different shaded areas that farther out, those three black photos across the bottom.
The ones across the bottom?
Yeah.
That is spacing type things, how close. You notice the 100-foot ones there are these larger ones.
Right.
How that overlap is. Then you have the other one over here is the closer 50-footers so that they overlap more. And then you get the one that's kind of really far apart that depending on where you are, there are places I can tell you, Flower Mound has a trail that's exactly what they want. They do not want a bunch of light, but there again, it's because it runs, the trail actually is in the backyard, runs across the backyards of a lot of people's houses, and they didn't want all those, too much light back there, aggravated those people. So originally they had the one at the far left was what they originally had. And they had so many complaints that they ended up all the way far right from the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. That's the main thing about it is which do you like? Do you like the almost solid? Do you like the little 100-foot where you got a shade in between slightly? And the other one has definitely shade.
Now, are we talking, are we going to have him put the whole trail? Because what I'm thinking is different sections. I mean, I think we need to have sensitivity of the lighting throughout, but maybe the spacing might be different. Like inside the park is going to probably look closer. In places that are really dark, like going under the bridge with a lot of light. But if you're along 156 or Schoolhouse Road, they might not as close together. I mean, I'm just kind of brainstorming. I don't that question.
So I walked the trail, the tap trail. I was always complaining how I'd never used it, so I decided to use it. So give my input. And it was in the daylight, and it was cold. And I'm going to digress for a second, but I was really sad that the toilets were winterized. Because by the time I walked from the post office in the cold weather to the bathroom, I really needed to use that bathroom.
You want me to explain why?
Well,
how much money it costs us if we don't do that?
I just kept walking.
No.
But shortly after that, some kids were playing volleyball, and they took their shoes right over to that sink. And I looked at them, I said, the water's off, and I kept walking. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
So they were going to rinse up.
Yeah, their feet and their shoes all in that water fountain, just like David always says they do. And these were like not adult. They were older children. I mean, they were independently there, probably had driven themselves there, maybe not college, but they were like, yeah, there was no way.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm glad that the sand is going away. I've been such a proponent of keeping that silly sand thing, but I witnessed it. So anyway, so as I was walking, I noticed that there are lights on the inhabited side of the road, meaning the houses, people are living here. Somebody redid their house, looks real nice. There's lights here, but there's not any lights on this side that I noticed. There might have been there. I didn't see them. But then the old Hazlet Elementary is still over there, so I figure somebody park is there, and I'm sure when the baseball lights are on, that's really lit up over there. But this side of the road doesn't seem to affect residents to me. So if we had more lighting, I don't know that it would be bad because that whole area is still field. So they develop it just a dark cow field.
I guess I was thinking that the people that live across the street from them might want to spread out
Right.
a little further in that section. That is exactly what I was, but like an area that I have them spaced out seems to be there, but maybe not be as dense where there are houses.
So the area that would concern me the most is the area where you go from the light and cross over and go along between Schoolhouse Road and 156. By the way, just because it says you can walk doesn't mean you should walk, because cars will still try and kill you. They just ran right. I was walking. My husband like grabbed me back. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It says walk." He's like, "The car didn't see that it said walk, and you were about to die." So people aren't paying attention to that light. And my sign said walk. I pressed the button. I started to walk, and here comes a car flying right up next to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't die, but anyway. But that area, once you cross over to the street, it's past where the houses
Schoolhouse.
are. But that's the area that doesn't, it's not inhabited, it's not lit well. That would be the area that I would like to see more light. And then under the bridge. But you're right, 156, I didn't, there's cars everywhere. I don't know that you need as many, but I like this middle one, my personal opinion. I like this middle. That way they kind of overlap, but they're not bright. But they're still not areas of dark.
And then my question was that picture in the middle there. At the bottom, are those like lights at the bottom and at the top?
No, that's just the base. That's actually the access to get to the wiring bottom.
Oh, that would be really pretty if they had a light at the bottom too. Even if it was just dim. Boy, that would be pretty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. About as far as the intensity, they're very close. About the same.
I'd like to express an opinion on that. I hope that because the trail is based and connected to our park here, that a focus should, I would hope, would be on matching that pattern rather than matching the new neighborhood. Because I'd like to see the city tied to Old Town myself.
On our trail, the only ones we only have two like that one. It's in Old Town. There's two of those in the park. Current. All the rest of them was the experiment in solar power that worked okay, but not great.
So is there a plan to replace those?
Well, that's not at the current, but possibly. That's one of the things that has been brought up to some people in the EDC, and we've had actually two people in EDC ask us about it.
Well, and
Partially because since we are moving more events there, they can see the idea that there may be a time that you want to go out there and turn the lights off.
What is the spacing
And-
between those solar lights?
The solar lights are spaced out. They're only like 50 feet apart, but the photometrics of them, it doesn't go very far. That solar
Because I feel like there could
panel-
be a little bit closer on that.
Yeah, no, you would have to have them, I believe, when we looked at it, you had to have them about 25 to 30 feet apart to get really, truly over. And they didn't want to spend that much money at that point. And they're not supposed to. Some of them do, some of them don't.
Never been up that early.
It's kind of all over the place. depending on
like
which
how
direction.
much they were charged.
Yeah, was it cloudy? Is it one of the ones that faces, the solar panel faces more south? You know, it all depends. So they're kind of hit and miss. And that's another reason, that's one of the reasons, the two people that both on the EDC commented about the lights there, that was their main complaint, was that solar, you don't know what you're going to get one day to the next. One day that might be perfect. The next day it's cloudy and then you don't have nothing. So,
Well, and if you're showing a movie or doing a
Mhm.
fireworks show, you really need them off.
right. And those you really don't have the ability to just go, oh, turn off. No, they don't do that. And you might be able to do it, but you just do it one at a time. And it's just not efficient for what's going to happen. So,
But
So if we're trying to pick a style, maybe next time it might be good to have a picture of what those uh, solar ones look like. So maybe we can have some that will, although knowing they're
Look
probably
like this.
eventually going to go away. It probably doesn't matter.
It looked like,
yeah, they're just a flat panel.
literally, they
If
just
we
look like
did
this.
it, I might,
Oh,
There's a solar panel and it
remember.
looks
I
like this.
remember now. Yes, thank you. That brought it.
yeah, if I
and
was
if they
going
work,
to do
they'd be
it,
fine.
Right. They're great if they work, if they're a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
brighter.
they're not bad.
Or a
If
little
I
bit
was
closer.
doing it, I would probably do either stick with the ones like we have in Old Town anyway, just because it matches everything.
Right.
But since those are only on street and only on, that's the only place they are. There's no place else that has it. You would have the ability to pick one of the ones like the neighborhood has and start with that. And then eventually all of the solar ones would be replaced the same way.
And
So-
am I correct in saying that there's no electricity out there?
No, but that's one of the projects in the,
And that's not in this proposal. It is in the proposal.
Mhm.
To put
they're going to
electricity
start
all the way around
electricity
the track.
all the way around the basketball court on that inner circle park.
Yeah, but
But
that's
not
it.
on the
Not
back
around
side
the
of it.
whole.
No, not to the back yet. But they've already agreed they will fund that whole section in there already.
Which helps us with Christmas park.
Yes. Help with Christmas in the park. Any event you have vendors or anything, National Night Out, all that, not having to have a whole bunch of generators around, power to plug into, make things a lot easier.
Okay, has there been any vandalism on the lights that are in Old Town?
No, we haven't
Other
had
than
any
the
real
telephone
issues with
pole
any
that
of it.
knocked one out?
Versus
No.
solar.
But no, we haven't had any real issues with any of it.
So the Laterra Trail that's going to connect over to the park. What are the lights over there?
They're using that one right there. That is the light that Laterra's actually, no, the other one. That one's the one they're using on all their small stuff. The main street has a totally different, it's a Cobra head on the big street, but on all their side street stuff,
So
they're using one with they use one that's a square. They don't use the rounded ones. They use the ones that have the coat like square lamp and square bottom coat.
So kind of like
Yeah, a little more like that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you that when that gentleman was here, I don't remember when that was, but he had mentioned that if we had power or whatever we ended up doing, under the bridge, because it's under the bridge, one of those poles that comes out of the ground, that lowered the ground like we have over in Watauga, that lights up that area versus the over the head street.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we
And I
should
think that
consider
looks
those
better
for
with the-
everything that's on
Lower.
the east side of 156, because
It all depends. He was talking about that, and I told him one day I was over at their office, and he was there. I said, "Well, did you ever think that that floods with water that would go clear over the top of them?" So that circuit's probably going to get fried. You're probably going to have to work with TxDOT and either
Hanging from the
mount
bridge.
lights underneath the actual bridge
Alright, fair.
itself. Most likely is going to be the way. Then when you come
Then
out,
those
yes.
hanging ones look better. then this one that hangs like they're in Old Town would look better hanging from the top.
Or off the back, off the,
Right.
yes.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, they'll probably, the tunnel, if we're talking to, they're probably what they call a wall pack, basically. It either mounts right up against a corner or up along the top of the roof. It's probably the most likely.
Well, and I just think as far as if we could possibly put them between 156 and the path, that those pole lights could act as a barrier from cars with people. At least to deter.
There's some cool things you can do. And you can think about this long term, but if you had the poles on the street side thing, dividing, you could eventually, over time, if you wanted to look into the little small banners like you see in South Lake Town Square, the little, they're foot wide or whatever for events, you could
Hang
change
along
them
the
out
poles.
along the roadways, every so many different ones.
Or I just read an article about the reason Target has those
Balls.
balls out
Mhm.
is for safety.
Yep.
It's to keep cars out of their store.
Yes.
And so, maybe it would be nice to have little pillars, but instead of having something around, I mean, they could serve as your walk. They could keep out the cars, but that's something that people could also sit on, and they wouldn't even have to fight. They could be pretty, like have a group of 3 pillars that are flat on top, and one for a child, one foot low for a child, and one.
My kid would leapfrog those.
Hmm?
My kid would leapfrog those in a minute and break his
Your
leg.
kid could do that, but I'm saying it would keep the cars out. It could serve the keep cars out, but also.
So do we need to pick one of these styles today?
No, you don't
Okay.
have to pick one today. This is just so you can
This is
start
just one.
thinking about it when
Okay.
you're driving around town here or
Right.
somewhere else. Kind of can see that this, you can see there's a lot of different options that are out
Okay.
there that you can look at. But yeah, you can look at some of the ones in the different neighborhoods as we get closer. Yeah, eventually we're going to get down to all this, and it's going to be, okay, what color is this? What color is that? You're going to have all kinds of picking and choosing before this is all over
Well,
with.
and hopefully we'll have some cost evaluation too.
Yes, they're gonna working on with, like I said, Tri-County is just new to the table about the idea of them doing the lighting. Cause from their standpoint, this would be the farthest north in this area they would be, is if they brought this down along that trail. Most of their power is back down Blue Mountain Road, follows Blue Mountain Road and comes up to almost Avondale at La Terra, but that's as far as they come. They don't get beyond there, even though we are one of the few, we are a dual service city. Tri-County and Encore overlapped here, and you can, depending on where you're at, you might have a choice of Tri-County or Encore, depending on where you're at. In the city, we have, if they're willing to extend it, we have the ability to have them extend power different areas, because they've moved into closest now. They have 1, 2, 3 warehouses now in the Alliance area. Before that was all Encore. Nobody else didn't ever intruded in that area. Tri-County is moving in over there now. And yes, and with the last year's storm, it has become even more fierce, because there are a lot of people noticed really that Tri-County didn't have as many problems as you did if you were on the Encore power side.
I lived in Caraway. I got Tri-County. We did not have problems last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my neighbors across the street had Tri-County and they had electricity the whole
Mhm,
time.
but you're
I
one
had
of the ones
Encore
that
and I had to go to
faces-
my mama's house.
That's because you face 156.
Mhm.
Everybody in White faces 156 happens to be lucky
Everybody
to
on
be
this side of
Encore.
White.
The entire rest of that neighborhood is
Yep, yep.
Tri-County.
On number 7, it says that we do discuss and act on recommendations to the council. So do we I thought you just said we didn't, this was just for information day. So now I'm confused.
Yeah, we're not looking,
Because if it's not on our agenda,
But if we don't act on that now, is it going to delay things moving forward?
no, we still got a
You delay it
number of
anymore.
steps before we get to the point of the big stuff.
Okay.
What we're really looking for is this, are we getting there with what you're looking at? Do you like these things?
yeah, looks
And
good.
we're show you that we've got numbers now that we're going to go try to get some more money out of one of our boards, since they have a considerable amount of money at the moment.
So is
We're
it
trying to
helpful?
use it for them.
Because we're a recommending board, we only recommend to city council, correct? So we don't recommend to EDC. We would show up as citizens.
No,
Wanted to- Okay.
but you do get to, it's a public meeting, you can, show up
Okay.
as, an individual and say, yeah, I think this is a great program, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we're hoping. And we've gotten good positive feedback from some board members and from the director. So we're hoping. But I mean, does this look like what you're thinking? The 10-foot
Mhm.
tall, all these kind of
I
things.
don't play tennis, but it looks good to me. Barbara?
Yeah, I think
My daughter plays tennis, but I
Yeah.
don't.
And because they have moved, they moved it, right?
It's on the
Mhm.
other side of that walkway.
So now we're not.
Right. If we move it over there, we don't have to do all that much work on everything. We have some extensions. The only thing that will change, and this will come up sooner than later, is with the old sand volleyball. Since if y'all like where we're talking about making that change and moving across to the other side, then we're probably going to talk to city council and EDC about maybe leaving that one there, but hard surfacing
Getting rid of the
the
sand.
existing volleyball court so that it could be used again for other things besides just volleyball. With being a solid court, they've already looked into there's backer things you can play hockey, roller hockey or something on, and it's about the right size for that for the junior size kid. There's a number of other things they've looked at that could be used so it becomes something else besides just a
I would still like to
sand
see
pit.
a volleyball court somewhere. So if they just can change the surface and people still play volleyball, then I
Mhm.
think that's fine.
Yeah, it'd be basically, you're
People
talking
do use
basically
it.
the same, what we're hoping is because that's the same surface that you use on a tennis court is what it is. So it's not like, so it wouldn't be hard to add that as a bid alternate to come
Could it be
in and,
pickleball / volleyball?
yeah.
Well, I would-
Tennis. Oh, dang.
They're in there. That's in part of the cost. Yes, when we did that's one of the reasons in the striping cost. It has both.
All right. So that was our presentation. Did we miss anything? Anything that
No,
you
I
wanted
think-
us to know that we didn't cover?
well,
No.
and that's it. So there's like two.
That's the lighting.
That's the tap trap.
But there's lighting. And the lighting first, the lighting. That, that light,
That's the one around that inner loop. That's redoing, that's adding that service and all that stuff around the basketball court.
the page 3 is
Yes,
the page 11 on the
Yeah,
quote
page
match up
3,
with page.
that's bringing in the new service, all that stuff, and then running those plugs all around that inner location.
That's the tap
That's
trap.
just the tap trail itself. So everything basically outside of the park.
so this part.
That's the stuff around the basketball. That's where we'll get all your Christmas tree lighting plug-ins
So
and
the first one is depicted,
it's on page
oh, it's right
3.
here. Okay. What's that picture? Oh, okay.
Yep. Shows all that underground electric.
I wonder if it might be better to separate this out and have like subtotal under tennis court.
We were talking about that the other day, that we probably will go back and change some of that. So especially the closer we get to putting together a bid package so that everything has its own separate cost, separate feel. Even though it's one big package,
Yes.
you could pick and choose and leave one out, pick up one. Different contractor or subs may do different ones.
That's like you were talking about Tri-County. Well, Tri-County may or may not want to bid the tennis court. And so, you know,
Mhm.
if they could say, yes, we're bidding
Yeah, we have a
section A,
company
section
that
B, section, yeah.
they do a lot of stuff, cold construction. They do a lot of park stuff all over the place. They may be crazy about all that stuff and they may not care anything about the lighting part at all. Don't know. You're welcome.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna have, we're hoping to have all this stuff. We're hoping to be able to get it all finished up and come back to y'all with some deals. Okay, we need some final direction, recommend to council, try to go probably the council in May and try to get out for bids over the summertime. Because a lot of the people that do this have already got their other jobs, but they're looking for their fall work and their next year stuff. They would start in October at that time of year. So that's kind of what we're shooting for, to get it out on
2023
the
or
street
4?
about that time. Because usually they bid it a little bit cheaper because they're trying to keep everybody working through the colder month. That's what we're hoping for, to get at least some of it started this year. Our only worry is that we're going to be, if somebody got really anxious and wanted to do something, the National Night Out or something like that might have construction, fencing and stuff going on.
If you start the tennis courts first, they'll be up out of the way.
That's going to be a decision too. And that's something you can already be thinking about. Do you want a blue court? Do you want a green court? Do you want a traditional green or do you want to go with the newer, the newer blues? Everybody's got their thing now. I know a lot of people like the new blue ones. Some people though, oh, no.
Are they
Traditional green, that's tradition. We like it green. And
We want what's going to be a long lasting color, fade free color.
from what I've heard, the blue does tend to go from blue to baby blue over a period of time, especially the windscreen. The windscreen especially seems to go fast for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Thank you, David.
You're
Appreciate-
welcome.
Appreciate your effort tonight.
Exciting.
Yes.
So at
And-
this,
Well, never mind.
I was just going to say at this time, we are going to have no action on number 7, correct? Because we do not have any recommendation at this point. Moving on to number 8, we've got the Easter egg hunt scheduled for April the 9th. We approved the eggs. We have the DJ. That's it. All right, looks good. So April 9th, 4 to 5 p.m. Wild West Fest is a proposed date of April 30th.
Have we
Did
received
we,
the bid?
David, do you know if we got those other bids from the other guy?
from anybody?
No, we have not. The big thing we're seeing is, I don't know that there's any way we'll be able to pull this off that quick. In the past, trying to do this event, that was starting almost the day we finished the first, finished the event off. Trying to throw this thing in here in less than almost 2 months from now is going to be really hard to pull off. And this, we're gonna have, somebody's gonna find a whole lot of volunteers to show up to help out doing it, because it's gonna be, this has always been a huge event to deal with.
And I hate to say this, but I just realized that I have class that week, so I won't be able to.
Well, we actually, on my calendar at last meeting, I wrote down that, what's the gentleman's name that came and presented? Kelly.
Kelly Clark,
Said that he was suggesting that he could do it on the 2nd, the 9th, or the 30th of April. They were all April. And
But
so,
today is February.
Yeah, I think the discussion last month was like we have to decide today
Right.
if we're gonna do anything because we're at.
and,
yeah.
And we didn't have any bids. He didn't have a bid. We didn't have the other guy's bid. We didn't have anything to go by.
well, and he was going to get back with us as to confirm if he could get those dates. So do we know?
He did.
So any of those 3 dates are good, or? Okay, so he said he went with 30th.
We did.
Did he give you a bid though?
Wow.
So at least we have something that we can say yay or nay about.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think this year, it's just, with all the other stuff going on, it's gonna be really hard to pull it off. And then, have it turn out to be a good event. I'm afraid we might have an event, but it may not turn out well, because we didn't have a chance to really plan far enough out. We didn't get a chance to advertise, get everything out like we normally did. It's gonna be really hard to pull that off this time.
I'm okay to skip it.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. I think the question I would have today is what, not in 2 months, but like, where did we miss the mark? So clearly waiting to January and saying, oh, okay, we'll figure it out in February didn't work. So like, if we're gonna do it next year, we talk about it next month and start planning, or?
And I think though too, last fall, and usually, we're getting really down to it in October last year.
Yeah.
And last year, we didn't even know if we were going to be able to do anything. So, yeah, exactly. Right. Right. And we don't always get our refunds and all that other stuff. So it was a wait and see, and we waited, and now we've seen. Do we need to make a motion, or do we, a recommendation?
I have a question. Before we make a motion.
Go for it.
Do we want to go, instead of just saying we're not going to do it, do we want to go back to Kelly and say, what is the comparable date for next year? And go ahead and ask if he's available for next year. That way we've begun to take that step forward. If we know this is when, this time of year is when we want to do it.
So I'd like to make a comment on that.
Okay.
So the year before last, was that number 10? We decided that we were going to do number 10 and consider being done with Wild West Fest as a park board. We all decided that. And then something happened when city council said, no way, don't do it. So we just left it, and then it got canceled. And we had talked about, I can go back to my list here and tell you what day it was exactly. I'd have to look it up. The other thing is, this is all we have in Garrick. So if there's only 5 of us, Garrick will do it. I know he'll show up. He does every year. But there's 5 of us who have kids, right? Who maybe have a meeting to go to. There's not anyone to manpower it. So it gets more complicated. It seems to me, I enjoyed it when it worked, but it just seems so complicated. So I don't know if we want to just see what happens in the year, take notes of the weather, and see if we can pick a better date before we start asking him to commit. But 16 months in advance when we're not even sure if the
Yeah,
pandemic will
because
be
that's
gone
one of the
next
things
year.
when I I talked to the lady on the phone down there. She goes, oh, if you really are interested in using this, yeah, she's got to have, 9 months beforehand minimum
Mhm.
to even be able, because she has to put it out and plan all of their other things that they have going on. She goes, this close out, I really couldn't tell you what, because she said, to tell you I could do it, I'd probably have to tell you I'd have to charge you 3 or 4 times more because I might have to call in all kinds of other people to make it happen. He said, if I can plan around kind of what your budget is and can work with some things. This close, not really.
We also had talked about moving it to October and making it a fall event instead of a spring event. That was another thing that we had discussed. Mm-hmm. So if you don't want to see it go, that's fair, but then maybe we look at, it's just October gets so busy, we're trying to do the run and. Mhm. Any further discussion? Anyone else have a suggestion or an idea? Go for it.
I'd like to make a motion that we do not have Wild West Fest this year. And it can be up for discussion what we're going to do next. It's Cindy.
Yeah, this is Matt. Second that motion.
All in favor of canceling for this year? All agreed? Good. Memorial Day celebration is slated for May the 30th at 10 a.m. All things moving well, it should be a live event, I believe. We don't have any anticipated closures, right? Okay. Perfect. Actually put that on my. Do we need to work on getting people to speak like we've done in the past?
If somebody has a suggestion for a main speaker, I always tell them not to do anything political. It's about the Memorial Day celebration, and they need to speak for between 10 and 18 minutes. So it's not a long speech, but if somebody has a suggestion, be sure and let me know.
And Cindy, you're gonna lead it like usual. He has. And then there was that last year, remember that guy that played that video and posted it to Facebook? He played the taps or something out there, posted on the Hazlitt page. There was a student in Hazlitt that made some sort of recording because yeah. I don't, but I thought it might be interesting to see if we can find that kid if he's still around Hazlitt. Maybe he'd like to help with something. Yeah, it's on the Facebook page. I'll pull it up. Mm-hmm. Do we need to do anything else for that? Or do we need any flags, or are the flags still good? But I mean, we don't need to order them now, so they're here.
No, but we need to soon.
Yeah, that's no problem. The flag can
But yeah,
arrive quickly.
well, probably need to look. Some of those little ones were getting kind of rough last year. I mean, if we're going to order flags, it might be time to just order along with the big ones, order the little ones all at the same time. One big, yeah, you can get a count and we'll just put them in the same order. And we'll just order all of them at once.
Does that come from a motion of our funds or is that
It's already in your
banners?
budget.
Okay,
It's already in the budget. That's the good part.
okay. But we don't have to motion to approve to buy the flags or anything. Good. All right, so the fireworks Independence Day event is going to be July the 1st of 2022. And I think we talked last time, we're gonna move it to the main park, try to flip it around when it
Yes.
gets there.
Yeah, we had so many compliments on when we did the National
National
Night
Night
Out fireworks being there, that a lot of people really liked it. And from staging of the event, it's not that much different for us. The only difference is the parade, instead of ending at Mansfield, it starts
Start
at
at
Mansfield and comes this way and ends in the park. So other than that, it's not that much of a change for us. When they get down here, there's actually a lot more ways for them to get out of the, when they want to leave. They can go Gamble, they can go Hurley, they can go Maine, whichever one works for them. So it actually probably will work out pretty well. We'll be able to park, a lot of people closer to the event because they'll be able to park there on the side like we do at the other events. So we're on the south side of the park. So we'll get a lot of parking. And then the rest of them, we've already kind of been talking, like we do before, we'll park them. We may want to talk with Randall or somebody about, a tractor with a trailer for, carting people back and forth possibly. But a lot of people are going to do just like they've always done. They're going to park on Schoolhouse. They're going to park over at the doctor's office at 7-Eleven and watch them from wherever anyway. Since we don't charge, it doesn't really matter to us if they decide they want to park there.
I do have a couple of things on the 4th of July here, just to go over real quickly. So the last time we had the event, let's see. I want to look at the vendor application. So we had an early vendor fee of $40 if you paid by May the 31st and $50 if you paid after that. We want to continue the same for the vendor, because I have already had a call or two about this event.
Say those prices again.
We had early vendor fee if you paid by May 31st and $50 vendor fee if you paid after May 31st.
At one point, didn't we move it to 50? Didn't we decide we wanted the main? I thought you had. It was a different event. Christmas in the park, right? Let's see.
We didn't have an early fee for Christmas in the park. Yeah. Not by me.
Yeah. Because people are going to come around. I don't think it makes them sign up earlier. I don't think we get more business because they speak 5 minutes earlier.
Right.
And we're still going to have the event, no offense, if they sign up or not. Right? We're having the event.
Right.
I mean,
not
you
like-
want people are just
No, I know, but I'm saying like,
You'll be able to tell Mr. They actually might have more people show up because in the Mansfield, you had such limited space right around there. People had to either walk a long ways. Here, they'll be able to park as many cars as we normally get. We know we can pull as many as 2,000 or 3,000 people parking over on the south side. So probably going to be more people available to buy their stuff or whatever. So they'll probably do even better than they've done in the past with any luck.
We have one more. So we offered a 20 by 20 space when we had it over there. Do we want to still do that? Because at the other event, we only offer 10 by 12 by 12. What did we offer last time at Christmas?
What we use for national night? What is that?
Right, and that's my point, because over here, we always felt like, if you need to bring your trailer or your truck or whatever, we just, there was plenty of room. 20 by 20 is a pretty big space, so if they had wanted that much space at Christmas, they would have to pay.
Yeah, because over there, we had room, they could bring in parked trailers and stuff.
Mhm.
Here, they're not gonna be able to do that. They're not gonna, unless you're gonna decide to, okay, we're gonna use the parking lot and allow them, if we want to do that.
Well,
Or
maybe,
maybe the ones who need a place in the parking lot, maybe they pay more.
So
Maybe they
I-
pay twice as much.
I have a question. Sorry, can we, those spots that are along the parking lot area, like where the basketball court is, and then there's the parking lot? And at National Night Out, it's where the food trucks were. Can we label those premium spots and charge $100 because they can bring their car in and park it easily?
Sure, we can.
Do you see what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
regular
no,
vendor
that's-
spots are
that's
50
exactly
bucks,
what I
and
was
then the
saying.
premium vendor spots, because what's that barbecue guy that comes and 4th of July and always wants 2 spots, and then
Yeah,
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that way he has his premium spot. He parks his truck there. It's level. He doesn't have to level his truck to get his stuff to work.
Mhm.
I don't know.
What about the parade? Where are they gonna stop? Are they gonna come through that parking lot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll come through the parking lot.
Can they still, as long as they make sure that they can at least just go through it?
Yeah,
And
we'll
go out
have
the
to
other
block it off,
end.
sorry, you can't, that's the fire lane. You got to stay out of the fire lane.
Okay.
I don't know.
just
Does
like
anyone
we
else
always,
think that's a good? I mean, I think
Mhm.
it's like the premium spot, because for me, knowing I don't have to level my stuff and lug it across the field, I might be willing to pay an extra 50 bucks.
well, and there are a couple of those heavier trucks that we don't want to drive in the grass, nor do they want to drive. in the
Right,
grass.
and then there's limits, so you can establish what the guidelines are. If your vehicle weighs more than 2,000 pounds, whatever the weight limit is, I don't know, then you have to purchase the premium spot. You can't drive across our.
So let me just thinking out loud here. There's some vendors that come up, they're nonprofit, they're not selling anything, they're promoting their service. But it's just like free stuff for the kids, right? I think,
Yeah.
Little snowball fight thing or little sand pouring in bowls, like it's free stuff for the kids. And I think we want to encourage that. And so the idea of a premium spot or having to buy 2 spots, my only concern is, like, if a church wants to bring something, a blow up bouncy house for kids to play in, I don't want to charge them. Like, I want my kid, like, I don't want to have to pull out my wallet at every vendor. I want to just, like, I go with my son, we walk, we get the free stuff, and that's it. And I think that's a great thing. So I don't want to discourage that. Actually, I want opposite. I want to encourage it. So I don't know if there's.
Well, maybe, can you define or that takes care of that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
because it's not,
Right.
not, it's for the big truck.
Is
And so
there?
it doesn't-
I'm not sure that you're gonna see as much of the free stuff, because that's what you see National Night Out. They're required to give away things. And there are groups that come and just hand out their pamphlet and talk to people and all that stuff. But it's not gonna be the same as National Night Out. Because these people are coming
people are
there
here
to
to make
make
money.
money. Right.
So Christmas and 4th of July, they're vendors because they're vending, but National Night Out is
But the
Now, the
Christmas
park,
still did have some, freebies. Like,
The
and again, it
churches,
was the
right.
churches and the just kind of promoting
And they're
the
still
general.
gonna have
Yeah.
their-
I have a
I just don't want to
question.
discourage.
So is it 401c that's tax exempt, like the 501? So like the churches, I don't know, is there a way that we say all vendor spots are $50, premium is 100, but if you're a not-for-profit church organization,
Yeah, They're not, churches aren't, I mean, that's not a problem
Part
for
of their
them.
outreach.
It's an outreach and they use it as that. That's
Got
what they know. So they're not afraid to pay for it. And you don't
For
want to
them.
make it,
Okay.
you don't want to make it free because then you will have a ton of 503Cs over here wanting to do it. And
Got
then
it.
you'll take up all your space with freebies and you won't get any money.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The park board can elect to host, bounce house and get volunteers like we've always done. That's in your budget if we
Yeah,
want to
every year,
provide
y'all
that.
have always had a bounce house. There's usually been at least one or two.
We had two.
But
Usually
can't we
two
have- Can't
at
we
most
have
of the time.
we've had sponsors for that kind of thing.
Heritage
So,
Baptist
I mean,
Church
some of the churches
generally
have sponsored
sponsors
some
that.
of those things.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Heritage Baptist, I had, has
They always
pretty much
sponsor a bounce
every
house
year.
for every
Yeah.
event.
How
I
much
mean,
money do
that's-
we have left for 4th of July? How much money do we have left for 4th of July?
I just looked at that this week because I paid the deposit to the fireworks.
Because we have fireworks, we have DJ.
So we are in. So we're gonna have about $6,500 left
And
in our budget for 4th of July, and we have to pay for a little bit of lighting, and I don't know if we're gonna need potties or not, but other
Probably
than that,
so.
we have a
Yeah, I
little.
think we should get,
I'm expecting that we probably will. Lighting, we may not have as much of a problem because we're not having to walk down the middle of the street like we've had to in the past. We may end up with one or two to be over on the south side, but we got regular lights around the rest of the park. So probably just going to be a couple of them over there in the parking area.
Yeah, I looked at the list and your expenses are pretty small. We're gonna buy a prize. There's
I was going to say, we usually have something we throw out to the audience.
promotional items.
All your
yeah.
old
Lighting,
t-shirt,
Yeah.
T-shirt
all the
menu.
extra t-shirts. that don't have
all the
covers.
t-shirts from all the years
From
that
Christmas
we've
in
been
the park, yeah.
collecting.
Prizes.
Oh, yeah, we need to get those. Now, are we advertising, I haven't seen it, to enroll in the parade? Draft. So do we charge to enter the parade? I don't remember. It's just a free registration for being in the parade, right? Okay. Yes.
Absolutely. Golf carts.
So,
Golf carts, wagons.
so Matt, a couple years ago, Cindy and I stood at the end of the parade and we had supplies to decorate. So we were giving out people streamers and
Right.
to
For the
decorate your bike.
non-motorized.
So you could meet us we used to meet at Lee's Barbecue where it started. Well, the motorized started across the street, but the walkers started on this side of 156. And we would go early and they would decorate their stuff if they didn't already have it decorated, the troops would meet there. And I have an old racked out trailer. Yeah, we should do one.
I'll say this. Yeah.
What dealership was it? Allen Samuel? Yeah. Yeah. Y'all were in
I
that
wasn't
nice
here for that.
brand new,
That was before me.
yeah, that brand
That was
new
before my
four-wheel
time.
drive pickup.
I think we should make one. Let's have a park board float vehicle. Hey, I have a flatbed trailer. I could pull it behind my car. You could wave from it. No, if they donate it to us, it doesn't need a budget.
But
When I went to that.
then also, how are we going to be in the parade and working the parade?
That
Yeah.
could be a problem.
It's like
We'll think about it.
Well, I mean, if you would authorize the park board to have a vehicle, I always get my nephews and nieces and there's some challenges with them, but they love being in the parade and we just pile them in the back of the pickup and they wave their things and they don't throw candy, they drop it on the side.
Right, right.
But anyway,
No candy throwing.
I would drive that.
Yeah, you have to remember, some of y'all have children, you know, you could all get them in there so
Yeah.
that you don't have to deal with them while
Right.
you're out there working. You know, somebody else has to deal
For
with
a
them and keep
brief
them in
amount
the
of
truck.
time during the parade, and then they're back to you.
We'll have Garrick lead that group. He should have been here. So do we need to order the prizes or do we need to look for them and get back? Didn't we do gift cards or something? Maybe, you know, one year when my kids were at Hazlet Elementary, that Laterra Grill donated some gift cards. I wonder if she'd donate $50 to the second prize winner or, you know, just something that I can ask.
I was going to suggest we just get ribbons that are big enough that you place them on there. Yeah, on the
No, we
floats.
had gift cards, didn't we? We had some sort of prize.
Yeah.
Got it. Got
Well,
it.
and this is the problem with a gift card. You have a $25 gift card and you had 50 kids on it.
Yeah,
Yeah. How do
Okay,
you-
here.
Yeah.
yeah, give them a big rosette ribbon, take their picture, and then you can post it and go on. Yep.
Sounds good. Most patriotic overall.
No, get the red, white, and blue rosette.
Yeah, get a red, white, and blue for the most patriotic, and then do the red and the blue.
Like you get when you win grand champion at the Fort Worth Stock Show. It's a red, white, and blue rosette. No, they have them that you can.
Are they live or are they fake?
Yeah.
Like live flowers?
All depends on how big you want.
Like,
They
but
make
it's
a
live,
rosette
right? Like
one.
it's a
The
living
jumbos
flower
are
that they
about,
put on this thing?
I don't know, they're good 18 inches across. They're huge. No, they're made out of ribbon. No, it's all out of
I'm
ribbon.
going live flowers over here.
Yeah, your trophy supply places usually have them. Most of your trophy supply places have them. That's where we get them up at Denton. We get them from a trophy supply. Mm-hmm.
So we'll look for those and then make a vote next time if we find some that are decently priced. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some pricing on different ones.
And then at what point do we need to order the toilet? Do we need to? Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure it out. judge's station.
I was, I thought.
For the judges.
You don't tell them you're the judge. Just-
Maybe we just have to send it to other.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
But let's get a
It's
path.
easy.
Can we
You know
define a
right where
path?
you ought to do it at is right across from the staircase, just like always, but on the tap trail. So as they go by, once the last one's gone by, we zip them over on the gator right underneath the bridge and everything. They're sitting over waiting before the rest of them ever get there. That way they can use a gator or whatever to sit there and watch them go by. And then just turn around and go.
So can you get us a path? A parade path of where you want it to map out, where we can block the road? Are we gonna have them start by Lee's? Okay. Because then if we see that, then we can say, okay, well, this would be a good place to sit the judges. I think he does.
Mm-hmm. Then you hit that carton. You just follow the tap trail.
Right. But you can't line, the tap trail isn't wide enough to line for people to watch it while they cross the bridge to get from Schoolhouse Road to 157. You can't take motorized across that little bridge. So in my head, what I was thinking was that they start at Lee's and go reverse instead of coming from Old Town across. They line up down Schoolhouse Road and then drive across the street through Old Town through the park. Right. And then they're going to go up to where City Hall is and come across. Right. Yeah. Okay. So when we have a path, we'll pick a station and yeah. Yeah.
Just because it's kind of on my mind, but for the non-motorized, when you have all those kids, if they're going to be on this side and we have everybody gathering on this side, there's a lot of traffic. Where is a safe place where the kids can line up when we have on this side of where they're already almost to the park?
Mr. Jim's Pizza Parking.
I don't know that it'll be started by then. By the time they get all the figuring out how they're going to make it work and go to P&Z and get everything done, I don't know if we'll even be started.
The parking lot at
But that
Mr.
would
Jim's
be
is
a-
about the same size as Lee's. And as the person who has been there for the walkers, then we don't need much more room than that.
Okay, I just wanted that to be on the list of concerns because it's a safety thing.
Mhm. That's the big part.
Right here would be, somewhere right here would be the
Somewhere right
best location anyway. Because in the car people, the motorized stuff, they can come on kind of fast behind the fire truck. They come past them and then the bikes and the kids can follow in right behind them at the very end. That way the vehicles up all the way around, come down to the park. And any of those that want to hook them off and leave like they like to do so much, go go if they want to. And that the judges would be basically right here in this parking lot, probably. That way, when they see all the little kids, okay, and then they can run straight through, back way, right over there, and hit them as soon as they're coming in.
Well, and remember, we have to identify a place for handicap parking. And last time the city hall parking for handicap parking, so that's why that would really work.
To do what?
Oh yeah, we'll do handicap. That whole field there on First Street will be handicapped, just like we did at Christmas. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Movie in the Park, September 16th, 2022. We do have In and Out. And we have a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
Is the movie? Oh, that's right. I still think we should buy it.
I have no desire to own equipment. I think that's
How much was the other one again? I mean, it is nice to have somebody else run it.
Yeah, technology changes and things happen. You don't have to buy the new stuff. Rent the new stuff.
Okay. National Night Out is October 4th. Aslet Hustle, October 29th. We got clearance check.
Okay, so we just want to cover the pricing for the run so he can establish, set it up on his webpage. And let's see if we want to do the same as we did before. So here's what you guys had last time. The early bird for the 5K was $20 if you registered by July 15th, $25 up until August 31st, and $30 until October 16th, and $35 from October 17th until the race day, which was, that same day. Okay. October 16th, $35 if you waited till race day. The 1 mile fun run was $10 till July 15th, $15 after that. So if we want to stick with the same prices, then he can go ahead and publish that.
Did
Or
he give any input if that's the right price?
did he give any input?
Correct. Did he offer any input onto what going prices are or anything?
He did on last year on this. So
Okay.
yeah. Well, we did the 1 mile and we want, that you pay less for that, and that's not timed. That's
Right,
why
it was
that
just
one's
10 or
be
15, easy.
inexpensive. But the timed ones, but no, this was his suggestion on tiering the. Mhm. Mhm.
Did anybody sign up at the $20 rate last year?
No.
Okay. So let's just go with the expert. See what he-
I told him we would, review it at the meeting this last week and get back to him after that. Worked for me.
registrations like through someone else's, their website or?
Through their website. And there is a fee, and I think it was roughly like $2. It was a percentage.
Oh.
So are we offering signups at City Hall as well? And that
But we're
that
not like
worked out okay
breaching.
with you?
And we're not breaching any contract with the company because we collected different fees. Oh, okay.
As long as he's okay with that and it didn't.
Because I mean, we
Cost
could take it
create-
to the schools. We could take it to the middle schools and the,
So if it's $20 to sign up, we get 18 or they pay 22?
they pay 22.
Oh, okay. It doesn't come out of
It's the credit card fee.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like if you have a Square, you have to pay Square for using their reader,
Somebody does.
whatever's over.
So he does take a percentage of the people that sign up?
We pay him for 100 runners and he gives us a
Yeah,
check
I was
at
gonna
the
say,
end.
we pay him a fee to do it. Oh, that's right, okay.
Because I think he charged it, I don't know if it's already in there, but didn't he charge like a web page maintenance fee or something? Or was that a different company? Okay. Yep, sounds good. Same as last year. All right, Christmas in the Park is December 3rd. We have reindeer, we don't have to do anything else in Santa, so we're good.
Do we need to reorder Christmas ornaments that were stolen?
Working on that. We placed the order.
What about the stolen ones? Are we gonna replace those? Or did the ones we bought to replace it, will they make up for?
You guys had elected, I think, to buy 4 more. I mean, I just placed the order for what you had recommended
Mm-hmm.
at that time. But we have not quite gotten a complete confirmation email yet from her. So, I mean, she says they're working on it. I think there's supply issues.
Okay, yoga and Tai Chi, going good. Any other projects or ideas anyone has requested?
This is where I was gonna, someone mentioned it a few months ago, and possibly we could do this in the spring, but having a volunteer day like they do for the big event, if any of you are familiar with that, but have it for just Haslett and Haslett area people. It would be something like, anybody who ever comes into the park, come out and help us clean it up one day. And it would be a thank you for the volunteers that come and do that, but also getting kids involved in taking care of the park. Something we can think about doing for next year.
Maybe we could put that in. Well, I mean, it's low maintenance, low us needed to.
I mean, I think you have to come up with a list of stuff you actually need done. Right? You can't just show up and
Here, just do something. Do you think you could scramble us a list like that, David, of things that volunteers could do on a volunteer day?
pull in weeds or what.
Like trash cans, do they ever need painted? I mean, kids would have a great time painting. But you know, we could have some cool looking, we could have cool psychedelic looking trash cans.
David seems really excited about that one.
Well, I'll just say how much fun it is. Well, I don't even remember that Cadillac, whatever it is, it's up, you know. Yeah, I mean, that's so cool. You have your spray paint to spray for a bit. I mean, it's so much fun. I mean, you can see the kids that come to do that. And
Got what? 2 parks that they're set up for kids to come spray paint and do graffiti, and then they come back through and paint them over, and then they do it again. Just that's what it's set up that way. It's specifically for that. Fort Worth has 1 or 2 of them. City of Denton's got
Under the bridge.
1, I believe.
Although you
There's
could-
a number of them around that have that. That's what it's for. It's come out, and that their design hope is that would give them a place to do it, and they won't go do it all over town, but I don't think that works.
Just encourage them to do it now.
I think it's more of, but they get it done, they take pictures of them and they post them so people can.
It's unique. It's fun.
Yeah.
So in November, I'm sorry, you're done with that. So do we want to try to pick the day as April, or do you want to wait and see what we?
Yeah, I think trying to scramble a new idea in 2 months is just as, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
Like a national day, isn't it?
I didn't know if you were trying to buzz through number 9. I wanted to stop you on 9. and see-
No, I'm still on number 8.
Okay, all right.
April 2nd. In November, we had asked to look at the Camp Gladiator permit situation as a next agenda topic, and it hasn't made its way up. So I don't know that that's really a project or an idea, but what happened to that? Remember, we were working on that, rewriting the permits, the fee schedule, the city permits. We suggested what we thought would be great for renting the park, and then COVID said no. Can we put it on the next time for our? Watauga has one. I mean, can we put it on then for next time for us to look at?
Can you send it out? That's not. The ordinance.
Like if you want to rent the pavilion by the bathrooms, you can rent it for your child's birthday party. It costs $50 for the afternoon. You have to bring your own trash bag. And if you don't pick it up, you get fined $500 or whatever the fee was. It got carried over multiple times, and Camp Gladiator was grandfathered into that plan. And we asked to see that rewritten. Because we were waiting to see that policy that nobody had provided for us.
That is a good time to be working on it because they're working on a lot of other fee schedule stuff. So, I mean, if we can get it in at the same time with, let's see, we got P and Z, CICs, look at impact fees, water impact, sewer impact. There's some planning fees. I believe building department's got some fees. So there's a whole lot of fee stuff getting put together, and it's probably a couple of months out before it'll finally be anywhere close to going to council. So this is a good time to talk about any kind of fees because they'll be in the mood to talk fees because it's a big priority with mayor and council right now.
And just for a little background for you, that there's been some conflicts of use. We had some suggestions to block out some time where some places in the park, like the basketball court, was reserved for resident use rather than that wouldn't allow it to be rented. Because what we have is 2 different features of Camp Gladiator that fall under that $150 a year rental fee, and they're making money. So they're a business, and we just need to address that so that citizens can use the thing. Anyway.
So
that's
there has to be transparency on Saturday, 10 to 11. You can't use basketball courts. It's a private event.
Right. But
So the
it
special
didn't
event
go.
permit
it
fee
didn't
is
go.
$25 for up to 100 persons. But it wasn't clarifying whether it's Camp Gladiator who's making money or whether it's pavilion event that they're. So we had proposed, I'll have to pull it out. We had proposed to the park board, we want to see a rental fee so that people can reserve the park for their park and not have to worry about Camp Gladiator being all over the basketball court and they can't use it ever. And we're just picking on Camp Gladiator. We don't care that
Right.
they're
Because
there.
they're the one that is due by.
I mean, at one point, a man had contacted us and said, "Hey, can I get a golf frisbee club going if you're parking? I have a field and I want to bring my business there." We couldn't really move forward with that because we didn't have anything established to say, "Oh yeah, you can start a golf frisbee club. You're going to be bringing in money. Here's the fee." And the only thing we had to base it on was the Camp Gladiator thing that had just sort of been permitted and not formal. Correct. Correct. And we asked for them to rewrite this, but city council didn't care.
Well, and we could look at it, but I can.
Yep. I want to
So they probably
say
both-
2016.
Can you email that document? Okay.
It's only 31 pages.
What's it called? I'll go look
It's
it up.
called City of Hacklett's Special Events and Special Use Policy. Because I keep.
I mean, you can see all the little issues. Is it exclusive? At what times?
Exactly.
I mean,
That's the
yeah.
problem we're running into.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why we're hoping to make it different. And I hate that I'm calling it Camp Gladiator. It has nothing to do with Camp Gladiator. It just has to do with permitting usage of the park.
Well, part of it for me, Camp Gladiator, because they're paying a very low fee, and they're a company, and they paid a very. I mean, anybody else that comes in and uses it one time pays the same fee
That they pay for the whole year.
to use it multiple times a week.
So what
It
is
just doesn't even make sense.
what is the permit actually entitled to? What just
We don't know because
we
haven't been
don't
able to
really
find
know.
them. So I'm gonna have to go and like put in a records request or something. Figure out whenever they started and figure out how to pull it out because we can't. I haven't found anything.
So you show up to play basketball, they're like, we got a permit. And no one really knows what that means.
And they have been better. Where
I mean, if it's,
It's not that what? Not that bad.
Far as I know, their original permit did not allow them. They had space in the park, not a space, space. They were originally in the grass. They weren't even over there. They just, once that cover went over it, they
They
just took it
gravitated.
over.
Mhm.
Before the cover was there, it was too hot most of the time. They were out there in the grass. So as soon as that happened, because they were mostly over in the area where we had the,
And that's how we
rodeo.
tried to rewrite it, so that if they chose to use the grass, there was no fee. They could just do that.
open space, yes.
But if they used the thing, they were going to
Facilities.
pay
Actual
every
facilities.
event.
Right. Which is what we proposed, but then it
Yes.
didn't go anywhere. Right, but if we suggest it to city council, then city council is at least alerted to the fact that the parks board is concerned about the park. Because if they never hear it from us, then they don't know that that's a concern about.
is this a weekly thing with them?
Oh, they do it multiple times a week.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And there's different leaders. So like Barbara's group meets on Monday, Wednesday, Sarah's group meets on Tuesday, Thursday, and they're there from 9 a.m. to 11:30 or whatever their hours are. Do their. Okay,
Yeah,
now we're
there's-
moving on to the park. Go for it. The only thing I have to carry forward before you go is the swings. David, do we have an update on the replacement swing? Okay. We will write it again.
That was literally the only thing I was going to ask about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had made myself a note and I didn't want to forget.
No, no, you're good.
The other
No,
question.
as long as we're, yeah.
The other question I have, David, and I know you were out for a little while. Do we have a update on that Jesse Vernon memory tree? There was a woman that had asked to put a tree in memory of her deceased husband, and then we had. Okay. Right, when it freezes. Okay. Do we find a spot? So, hold on a second. She did, but she said she wanted it to be where it was going to survive. Okay. She just said the giant rock by the creek. They used to fish there, and so, but she also said she wants it to live. Oh, okay, okay, good. Mm.
Do y'all use those water bags on new trees?
Mhm.
Yeah. Ours lasted about 2 years and then they.
Anything we need to know about any of the fields, bathrooms still winterized, everything?
That's the next one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in August, we will be doing, for both these places, fire station, they're gonna do, we have a ILA with the county to do a chip seal. So all that big pile of material back there is actually soon, we're working on that as a dirt, as a different contract. But we're gonna be spreading that all out, up and down the driveway, recrowning everything so it drains, getting it ready, rolled in and ready, because August, September time period, we have a interlocal agreement with Tarrant County Precinct 3. They're going to come in and shoot it and do a chip seal over it, cut down on the dirt and the dust. It'd be somewhat, that's old style paving, but it's pavement, better than what's out there. And that will not, since City Council didn't want to go do anything too permanent because of the cost of tearing it back up, that's easy to take back out in the future. So they're going to do that there, and they're also going to do it at Nance Field. They're going to do the same thing on that little gravel parking lot. So again, cut down on the dirt and the dust and make things work a little better and drain a little better. So that's project coming up over the summer. So that'll be fun.
Can we look at redoing the mile markers since the tap trail is now incorporated in the park? Because the way that thing loops around now, you have to loop once and make a figure 8 and come back around to get to your mile marker. Can we look into maybe so that it includes a different trail since we have that?
Yeah, what would be best, we put together a cost estimate and everything for what it might take to do it.
Okay.
Not really something they can make. It was hard enough working with them to install them. That was a big enough project. Oh, I know, but yeah, I know they call all the time asking, but a lot of stuff they just, yeah, those kind of things, cutting out metal and stuff, just something they usually aren't into. Can't really do those sort of things.
I mean, just when I learned how to loop around, had miles that broke the road up. Then I went out there the other day and I realized if I'm starting over at the post office, I don't have any idea how far I walk. I mean, I was exercising, right? But sometimes it's fun to say, oh, I walked 2.2. Oh, that's fine. I could have used my app, but all right, any other park stuff?
No, I believe that's all we got currently.
All right,
Besides project.
perfect. So next park board meeting will be March 9th, 2022. Anything for the next meeting? Perfect. Are you thinking something? Oh, okay. All right. We will adjourn at 9:04.